A cool new thing we should incorporate in our physical education departments in our high schools should be knight battles, where people dress up as knights. I think it's very physically demanding, and it can be quite fun, and it integrates history, real history, into our lives and helps us understand how history was. If you have two knights, you have kids dressed up in real knight outfits with the same exact metal, the same exact weight, the same exact chainmail, everything. And you have swords that weigh the same weight, and they jump in there and they clank their swords, and then if you push the sword into like the area of the knight, like under his arm or up against his neck, at a certain strength, you would have like big balls in the tips of the swords, and then you have like a extra thick, just to protect the person, of leather or something, and then you have a sensor, and if you push it in strong enough, for the realistic amount of pressure you'd have to do to kill the guy, then you win the battle. And so you could get like teams of people, all these knights get up there, and it's really good exercise because you're right there swinging the sword as hard as you can, boom, bam, boom, boom, and you could be whacking at each other for like minutes at a time, and be extremely exhausting. Good for your balance. It'd be a good spectator thing. It'd be really fun to watch. And it wouldn't be that expensive because you just buy the suit, and then you have them outfitted for different people of different heights. And you just keep them in the school, and you'd have like the champion of the school, and then you'd have maybe even different weight classes. Yeah, that would be a really cool thing to do, because then when people talk about history, people would be like, oh, you could have all the different styles. You could have, one school could have the one for the Polish one, and then the Russian one, the English one, and then people could have preferences and choose which one they want. Or choose people from famous people from the past, different ones. I'll have King Arthur's one, or the one that, Alfred the Great's one. I'll have the one that Julius Caesar wore, and yeah, and maybe even extrapolate that farther into the future when we have a really strong GDP. You could have like real life battles with lots of people, like with archers and jousting and battlefield battles and stuff. Make it like a new sport that people would watch in stadiums. You would have like an army of like 5,000 against 5,000. I don't know, but yeah, definitely start out with schools dressed up as knights. I'd love to do that. Dress up as a knight and like hack at somebody. And then it would give people a really good impression of how it really was in the past, and how one knight could, and have people even mounted up on horses and fighting a knight mounted on a horse, fighting knights, walking around, running around on the horse on the bottom. When a knight was suited up on his horse, he could fight off 7 farmers with pitchforks. So, and then of course the knight went out of business when they invented crossbows and guns that were strong enough to pierce their armor. So it makes you be very familiar with a certain period of history of the knight, from like feudalism, after the fall of the Roman Empire-ish, or once they got technology up again after the fall of Roman Empire, maybe like Charlemagne, like 800 to like 1500, when the arms became really strong. So for like 700 years, you had the time of the knight, and makes you really interested and familiar with that period of history, which isn't really a really well known, the Dark Ages period of history. Something we like to focus more on, the French Revolution, the 1700s, Enlightenment, and the Roman Empire. But what about the Dark Ages? It just help us become more interested in that and more knowledgeable in it. So, ooh, that wasn't so long.